Kopanang Hotel Super Team Raceco ground out the win in Class S. It was Gosler's second win in a row after his victory, partnered by Gerard Niemand in the Lesotho Sun 400. After the heat of the Northwest Province, it was Woolridge and Scholthammer who were on the top step of the podium and celebrating again. And it was joy for Ford as they took third as well. But Toyota continued to rack up the points for the manufacturer's trophy, which was residing in the Nissan display cabinet. And in the specials, it was another 1-2 for the Motorrad crew, who were certainly motoring the right way. The Ford victory closed the gap to Grobler Jordan considerably, and nothing seemed certain in the 2006 edition of the Production Car Championship. Only 8 points in it, and 2 races to go. And in the specials, Cox and Testecher had 15 points to play with over their teammates Harkus and T3, and the word was out, there were no team orders, each man for himself. And then there was only 2 left. And the penultimate round of the Absa Off-Road Championship, the Toyota Dealer 400 in Mpumalanga was totally dominated by Nissan. The proudly South African Nissan Navara entries, crewed by Duncan Voss and Ralph Pitchford, and Hannes Grobler and Francois Jordan, made it a 1-2 in the production vehicle category and in the SP class to give Nissan their 5th win in 7 events for the year. And Nissan's domination continued when Mark Corbett and John Moore in the Century Property Development Nissan Navara came in third behind the works entries. Corbett and Moore were shaking down a new Navara built by Nissan Motorsport in Midrand for an overseas team with no fewer than 5 South African-built Nissans among the entries for the 2007 Dakar Rally. The cherry on top for Nissan came when the factory Ford Racing Ranger crew of Neil Woolridge and Kenny Scholthammer failed to make it into the top 6 in the production vehicle stakes. That gave Grobler and Jordan an unassailable lead in the overall production vehicle championship with just 1 event to go. 4th overall and in the SP class after a solid performance was the Castrol Toyota Hilux pair of Bevan Bertolt and Robin Houghton. They were forced to carry the Toyota flag after Mark Ronier and Chris Birkin dropped out with steering problems. The Class D honours went to Hichu and Jaap de Bruin in the Castrol Toyota Hilux after a close battle with the BB Auto Nissan hardbody pair of Arnold Duplessis and Johan Knox. For the de Bruins, it was their 2nd win of the season and their 2nd in a row, but 3rd in class was enough to see Chris Visser and Japie Badenhorst in the Tyco Trucks Toyota Hilux take the Class D championship. With 4 wins for Visser and Badenhorst, 2 for the de Bruins and a sole success for Cliff and Louis Weichelt in the Bosel entry, Toyota maintained a clean sheet in Class D. Another issue was settled on the Toyota Dealer 400 when Schroeder and Huxtable in the Ford Racing Ranger finished 2nd in Class E. It was enough to wrap up matters for the KwaZulu-Natal crew, with the first win going to a delighted George and Sharon Barkhuizen in the Rokon Toyota Hilux, who scored their first ever national championship victory. 3rd were Brian Martin and Oki Fourie in the factory Castrol Toyota Hilux, with Toyota crews also taking the next 3 places. Fabio Tafani and his co-driver Mike Barron in the Club Refrigeration Toyota Hilux, and Mark and Stuart Moffat in the Bosel Toyota Hilux, as well as Jaco Swanepoel and Graham Bishop in the IDM Cement Toyota Hilux, filling the minor placings. However, there was a controversial end to the special vehicle race that saw the legendary Alfie Cox and Henny Testecher wrap up the overall and Class A championship for the Motorrad Bat team. In a dramatic finish, Cox and Testecher and their Motorrad Bat teammates Evan Hutchison and Akim Bergman came in behind the Atlas Copco Porter, driven by Gary Bertolt and Henry Costain. Race officials, however, penalised the Atlas Copco crew for an incorrect start time on the 3rd and final loop of the race and dropped them to 3rd behind the 2 Motorrad Bat crews. For Cox, it was his 26th South African title and capped a remarkable career on 2 and 4 wheels. A multiple SA off-road motorcycle champion and Dakar Rally stalwart, Cox now has also won the production vehicle and special vehicle championships on 4 wheels. The Class B honours went to Johan and Etienne Besaidnout in the Adenko Bat in a commanding performance that saw them finish more than 20 minutes ahead of veterans Ernest Corbett and Warwick Goosen in their Century Property Development Bat. And 3rd was yet another veteran crew in Gilnel and Johan Smallberger in the Bosel Luke Truggy, but the demise of Jan Kraai and son Jan Jr. in the Kemax Bat left the Class B championship wide open with just 1 event left. The Class S Drivers' Championship was also heading for an exciting climax at the Ford Carnival City after a hard-earned win for reigning champions Richard Schilling and Chris Davies in the Plastotech Aceco. The result saw Schilling close to within a couple of points of Nick Gosler, who along with co-driver Richard Carolyn in the Kopanang Hotel Super Team Raceco were among the non-finishers. Botswana's Gary Gillingham and Peter van Vuuren in the Shell Raceco were second, with Archie Rutherford and Craig Doubtfire in the Nashua Mobile Raceco a distant third. But with Grobler and Jordan second place, they clinched the championship, even though Foss and Pitchford were tasting the bubbly after a fine win. Toyota again strengthened their hold on the Manufacturers' Trophy with 5 places in the top 10. And in the specials, it was indeed something special from Alfie Cox, as he took the national championship, the category and overall win all in one. He certainly is one of SA Motorsport's most faithful servants and a nicer guy you'd battle to find.
Vehicle and asset finance.